Hi, beautiful Phoenix friends. It's LeahMarie here with a special reading this week from the Wisdom of Avalon. So, interestingly, Avalon has been coming to me throughout my life in various ways, shapes, and forms. And recently, on a trip, a friend introduced me to The Mists of Avalon, which is a book I had heard about before but just had never really dove into. And when I got back from my travels, another friend of mine had been hearing about the book simultaneously from someone else they knew. And so I really just started sitting with the medicine and feeling like the collective was needing a reading specific from the Avalon deck to go deeper into those really beautiful bits of wisdom that energy wants to bring forward for the collective, and anyone who has a strong resonance with Avalon, with Merlin, wizards, the Knights of the Round Table, druids, all that sort of energy. So I am going to see what comes through for the collective. I'm not entirely sure. I will say that this morning I did wake up with some really interesting energy in my heart chakra, and then a little bit more of a resonance through the throat too. And even now, I've had a lot of water and done a lot of my own processes this morning, and there's still feeling like there's this little like lump down here in the back of my throat, which isn't normal for me. So if that resonates with any of you guys, you might want to stick around. That might be confirmation for somebody. I do know that I was very drawn to the blue colors as well today too. So higher consciousness, speaking our truth, and we got two flippers there. I'm looking for one more. So really just feeling into your voice, your truth. What are you feeling inside? Perhaps this is you are meant to speak wisdom from Avalon. You may have lived a life there, and it might be time to not only awaken more deeply to that, but to also allow that wisdom that you carry to come forward at this time. And I am feeling this resonance that that's a strong snip for a good number of you, that there is Avalonian wisdom in you that is wanting to come forward at this time. And so I am kind of excited to see what happens. And now we're getting sticky, but that one's feeling like the one. So we're gonna kind of just pull our cards up this way, change in format. So thank you guys so much for continuing to come to the channel, evolve with the channel, grow with the channel, and for all of your likes, shares, and subscribes. So every time you guys like the video, you comment, you subscribe, that helps get it out to more people. So I do really genuinely appreciate all the support you guys have been giving me to help the channel grow, and I'm sending you so much love and blessings for that support, for you guys to be supported in the ways that you need to be in your own life as well. So if you're interested in the deck or any information from me, that's going to be in the description box below, and I'm going to just get right into the reading with the center card here. So it is disruption, which is really interesting. I was out on a hike over this previous weekend, a weekend ago, I should say, and I was pulling some cards from this deck with the group I was with, and this was the main center card that we got. And it was interesting because I was also viewing a waterfall, and so I thought, how cool is it that this waterfall energy is coming through? Because even though the keynote is disruption, and I'll get that in a little closer so you guys can peek if you want. Even though the keynote is disruption, I kept feeling that this disruption was a really positive one, that it was more about disrupting outdated patterns, outdated beliefs and stories, or outdated programs that had been automatically running. And I want to point out this lightning bolt that's here, and then there is another one carved into this rock, and this is a card that is a sacred marker. So this is essentially marking a time in your life, in your journey, where disruption is necessary to create the change that needs to happen in order for you to move forward. So not all disruptions are chaotic. If we were to look at this sort of in the tarot perspective, it would be like the Tower card, right? So that card comes in to create change. And I feel as a collective, we tend to be tapped into feeling that disruption is more generally associated with like less than positive experiences versus disruption coming in to like mix things up so that more beauty and positivity can be created. And sometimes things do need to get stirred up in order for that to happen. And interestingly, when I was pulling this card for the group that I was working with recently, we had another card come out that was all about flow. So we had this waterfall disruption, and then we had another one that was like a river that was flowing, still, calm, in the flow, abundance. Okay. So oftentimes we do need to have that churning, that power of the waterfall that really creates that force and ultimately momentum to shift us into a new space, a new alignment, or just gives us the ability, I guess, to expand in new ways. So I really encourage you guys to look at this as a disruption in your usual programming is what I'm hearing. So it's not something that's necessarily, I'm not saying it's not going to be uncomfortable, because change comes with a certain amount of discomfort. And to that, I encourage you guys to take on the mantra, I am comfortable being uncomfortable. So if even just the thought of disruption in your usual scheduled program, if that brings up any fear, if that brings up any, feelings of like, oh my gosh, what does that mean? I encourage you to see that story and that inner dialogue that is really just coming from past programming and past maybe less than positive experiences, okay? Because the energy of Avalon is really saying this is a positive disruption that is likely to come in like that lightning bolt and just electrify everything, okay? So we're going to go over here, and we have got the eagle, which is going to be a guide of Avalon. And the eagle is embodying spirit, integrity, and connection to the angelic realm. So this disruption is divinely guided, as I feel they all are. It just sometimes we accept certain disruptions a little bit more easily than others, shall we say. So with this eagle coming through as a messenger of Avalon for the collective right now, this is showing me that higher perspectives are wanting to come in. So this disruption or this change, we can even just talk about it as a change that's coming in, is designed to help connect you more with spirit, with the angelic realm, and to give you higher perspectives. So the eagle is also going to be able to relay specific messages to each of you in your own personal ways as well. So if you're out and about, if you're driving, if you're hiking, if you're doing your normal stuff, I would really, really pay attention to, if you see eagles, what were you thinking? What was your inner dialogue? What were you considering doing? Okay. And really allow yourself to start using and working with the eagle as a guide to lead you to that connection with the angelic realm that all of you have the capacity to cultivate inside. Now, it's also, I'm being called to that in the integrity, but I'm being told to add the inner integrity element to it. So when we practice inner integrity, it helps us create a stronger foundation in the external world. It also allows us to really be much more in our authentic truth. So inner integrity, it really comes down to, are you saying what you mean? Are you following through with the things you say that you're going to do? Are you being honest with yourself about how you feel about what you want to do in this world, and even about what you're doing on a day-to-day basis? And inner integrity is a theme that's been coming up since July, very specifically. When I took a group to Colorado, we did a bhakti yoga retreat. And inner integrity is one of our key components that we focus on and work to cultivate. Because when we get real with ourselves, when we start to admit, well, I really am not enjoying this, or I'd rather be doing this, or maybe I want to start investing my time over here, or maybe this relationship or this job needs to change. It's like when we start getting real with ourselves with that stuff, then we have the capacity to then step into the physical reality and make those changes. But it needs to start first and foremost within yourself and your personal connection with things like the angelic realm, your guides, your ancestors, and very specifically with this, the angels and the eagle as an animal guide. So the energy of Avalon is bringing through change, but also giving you one of the highest level protectors and beings with very, very clear sight so that you'll be able to see the gifts in the change that are presenting themselves to you as you're shifting into a new cycle, which of course is highly appropriate as we're about to shift into a new season as well. So this doesn't entirely surprise me, although I do always appreciate spirits like little sprinkles of alignment that I don't anticipate. And coming into even more fun, especially for those of us in the Northern Hemisphere, we have death, which is a marker of what? Change, of course. So this is really interesting as well, because in the fall here in the Northern Hemisphere, we are, our plants are shedding, they're dying, they're changing, they're evolving. Some of them aren't all dying, they're just going through the closure of one cycle and really coming into a different cycle of time. Now, I feel it's also interesting with this sacred marker as well. So we have two sacred markers, that this disruption is causing a death to old ways, a death to outdated stories, a death to things that are in some sense blocking you from accessing your wisdom of Avalon. And so when I say this, the guides are coming through to really articulate that those of you tapping in, you do have this wisdom of Avalon within you, whether you're conscious of it or not. And so there are parts of you that might need to be shed so that you can see more clearly, so that you can step more specifically into the aspect of wisdom that you are meant to share with humanity. Now, in this, I'm also being called to two different things. So this is like we're looking like we're at the shore of a beach, whether that's ocean, lake, hard to say for sure, but there's water and it's a much gentler flow than what we were seeing in our disruption card here. So I do feel that once the change happens, once the death cycle happens, a greater level of calm and peace and serenity, I'm hearing, will be able to flow to you. And we are getting the water is coming to the shore. The tide is not out, the tide is coming in. And with that is bringing abundance, nourishment, expansion, and a lot of really powerful energies in terms of helping you step more into your own personal gifts. And so I'm feeling the additional energy with this on the rock, and I don't know if you'll be able to see it. It is really subtle down there, but it's like a half of a sun image that is down in the bottom. And with that, I am feeling it's like I'm seeing it as this like circle around the sun. So it's just like it's partial, but it's because it's like the lower component of a completing cycle. And so you're coming into this space now where you're rounding out a cycle in order to be able to shift and move forward. And I'm actually going to shift these cards over because I'm being strongly called to go back to the deck and get one more card to close out. And there it is. Um, just to see. Okay, and we're getting another guide, which of course, not surprisingly, is one that's come through really strongly for me in the last few weeks, which is the frog. So we're getting the frog as an animal guide. And the frog is all about cleaning house, releasing emotional baggage, and comes with the number 14, which on this card feels very significant. It's a very auspicious number. And so we break that down often as well to 5, which signifies change and transformation most often. So the frog is coming in to help you clear out anything that cannot move forward with you. This is a message that's been coming through quite frequently. And interestingly, with this particular equinox that we're experiencing here, normally the equinox comes to a space of being more about um, closing out cycles, but from the perspectives of death, like this is saying. But I am getting this like death feeling like we normally do in fall here, coupled with a new beginning energy that I've never felt with fall the way that I have. So it's almost as though there's this alignment of the spring and fall equinoxes happening next Wednesday on the 22nd. So sorry for the little disruption there. The reading just paused on me. So I am taking that as an opportunity and a sign from Spirit to take a pause when it comes to this energy here specifically. pause with the energy of cleaning house, clearing out energies from your life that are ready to go in order for you to start a new cycle. And so, really powerful energy working with the eagle and the frog. So, we're also getting our higher perspective and then our on the ground perspective of things. The frogs are also really powerful and great at helping us see into the spirit realm, to connect with higher consciousness, and to really move through these cycles effortlessly, like they do, going from tadpole stage into frog stage, having that metamorphosis that's very natural and organic. And so I feel that Avalon's energy is coming through to invite you to have this metamorphosis, to surrender naturally to it, allowing it to happen, so that you can actually start accessing a much deeper level of wisdom that your soul has been working to release this lifetime. So, really cool messages and energy coming through. And if any of you want to dive more deeply into Avalon, you can book a personal reading, or we can go more into a variety of other things for you as well. So, all that's in the description box below. I thank you so much for coming to the channel and wishing you all an absolutely amazing week. Take care.